The Krell Empire had been taking people from weak planets for 300 years. Earth was just another target. The humans were new to space travel and had no way to fight back. Commander Vexithora stood on the bridge of her ship and watched the screens. Below her, the human colony called New Portland sat on a terraformed moon. It was small and defenseless, perfect. The Krell needed workers for their factories and mines. Humans would do nicely. They were strong enough to work hard, but too primitive to cause trouble. Vexithora gave the order. 6 harvester ships dropped from orbit and landed around the colony. The humans tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Katie Morrison was 24 years old and worked in the engineering depot. She had been fixing a fusion regulator when the alarm started. She dropped her tools and ran outside. The sky was full of alien ships. People were screaming. Krell soldiers in black armor were grabbing anyone they could catch. Katie tried to help her coworker Zoe Palmer, who was 22 and covered in grease from fixing air processors. A Krell soldier hit Katie with an electric stick. The pain made her fall. When she woke up, she was in a cage on a ship with hundreds of other humans. Lisa Grant was 27 and had been leading the night shift when the Krell came. She fought back and broke a soldier's arm before they stunned her. Now she sat in the cage next to Katie, her face bruised and angry. The twins Amy and Beth Sullivan were both 23. They worked on mining equipment together. Now they held hands in the corner of the cage, trying not to cry. The 5 women did not know each other well before that night. Now they were prisoners together. The Krell did not care about their names. To the aliens, Katie was Subject 447, Zoe was 448, Lisa was 449, Amy was 450, Beth was 451, just numbers. Just things to be used. The ship took 3 weeks to reach Krell Prime. The prisoners got thin soup once a day. The bathroom was a hole in the floor. Some people died on the way. The Krell threw the bodies out an airlock like garbage. When they arrived, the women saw Krell Prime for the first time. It was a huge planet covered in factories and military bases. The sky was orange from pollution. Nothing grew there anymore. The Krell had killed their own world long ago. The prisoners were sorted into groups. Most humans went to the mines. The 5 women were sent somewhere else. A Krell guard looked at their files and saw they were engineers. He marked them for Sorting Facility Gamma 9 in the industrial wastes. The facility was even worse than the ship. It was a massive complex where slaves processed military salvage. Broken weapons, damaged ships, old armor. Everything the Krell military threw away came here to be sorted and melted down. The air was toxic. Green smoke came from the processing furnaces. The slaves wore no protection. The Krell guards wore sealed suits. They did not care if the slaves got sick. There were always more slaves. Katie learned the rules fast. Work 12 hours. Get thin soup and hard bread. Sleep on a metal shelf. Do not talk back. Do not fight. Do not try to escape. The punishment for breaking rules was death. She watched other slaves to learn how to survive. There were aliens from dozens of species. Some looked like insects. Some looked like birds. Some looked almost human. All of them were tired and sick. Most species died in 3 years in the toxic air. Humans lasted maybe 4 years. The Krell did not care. They just brought in more slaves to replace the dead ones. Katie met the others during work in the sorting pit. They were assigned to the same section, processing old military equipment. Lisa took charge immediately. She was older and tough. She told them to stay together and watch each other's backs. Zoe was good at fixing things. She could take broken equipment and make it work again. The twins were fast and quiet. They could move through the facility without guards noticing them. Katie had always been curious about how things worked. Now she studied everything the Krell threw away. The guards never paid attention to what slaves looked at or touched. Why would they? What could prisoners do with broken weapons and damaged armor? After 6 months, Katie had learned a lot about Krell technology. She learned how their weapons worked. She learned about their ships and armor. She learned that the Krell were powerful but not smart. They followed rules and orders. They never changed or adapted. They had conquered 17 civilizations by being bigger and stronger, not by being clever. That was their weakness. Katie also noticed something strange in the salvage. Some equipment had markings she did not recognize. The symbols were different from Krell writing. The technology looked older and more advanced. When she asked an old alien slave about it, he looked scared. The equipment came from the architects, he said. They were an ancient race that fought the Krell 8,000 years ago. The Krell had destroyed them completely. Every ship, every building, every weapon. The architects were gone forever, but their technology still showed up sometimes in the salvage. Old battlefields got mined for scrap metal. Sometimes architect equipment was mixed in with Krell garbage. Katie started looking for architect technology in the sorting pit. She found small pieces, a damaged circuit, a broken power cell, a fragment of armor. She hid them in her sleeping area. The other women watched her collect the strange equipment. Zoe asked what she was doing. Katie said she did not know yet. But these pieces felt important. They were made by people who fought the Krell and almost won. Lisa warned her to be careful. If the guards caught her stealing salvage, they would kill her. Katie knew this was true, but something inside her refused to give up. She had been an engineer on Earth. She had built and fixed things. Now she was treated like an animal. She would not accept that. The twins helped her search. They had sharp eyes and quick hands. Slowly, over weeks and months, Katie collected more architect fragments. She studied them during rest periods. She tried to understand how they worked. Then one day, Beth found something big. It was a neural interface module, half buried in scrap metal. The markings were clearly architect, and it was still partially working. Katie felt her heart beat faster when she held it. This was not just a fragment. This was a key to something important. That night, the 5 women gathered in a quiet corner of the sleeping area. Katie showed them the neural interface. She explained what she thought it meant. Somewhere in this facility there might be more architect technology, something the Krell had missed, something that could help them. Lisa looked at the device for a long time. Then she looked at Katie. "Do you really think we can find something that will help us escape?" Katie met her eyes. "I do not know. But I know we will die here if we do nothing. We have maybe 3 more years before the toxic air kills us. I would rather die trying to escape than die in this pit." Zoe nodded. "I am with you." The twins agreed. "What do we do?" Katie smiled for the first time in 6 months. "We start looking. We find out what the Krell built this facility on top of, and we pray that the architects left something behind." The 5 women made a plan. They would search the lower levels during maintenance periods. They would collect more architect technology. They would learn everything they could. And when the time was right, they would make their move. The Krell guards never noticed. 5 human girls were beneath their concern. They were just numbers. Just slaves. Just things to be used and thrown away. The guards had no idea they had just made the biggest mistake in the history of their empire. Katie spent every free moment studying the neural interface module. It was damaged but still had power. That meant it was connected to something. Something big. Something that still worked after 8,000 years. The question was where. Zoe helped her map the facility's power grid. During their work shifts, she paid attention to where the energy conduits went. Most led to the furnaces and processing equipment. But one set of conduits went down. Deep down, into levels that were sealed off. Lisa used her leadership skills to gather information from other slaves. The facility had been built 70 years ago on top of ancient ruins. The Krell never bothered to explore the ruins. They just sealed them and built their factory on top. Why waste time on dead civilizations? The twins started exploring during maintenance periods. The Krell shut down certain sections for repairs every few weeks. During those times, the guards paid less attention. Amy and Beth were small and fast. They could slip through ventilation shafts and access tunnels. After 3 months of searching, Beth found it. An old access shaft that led down into the sealed levels. The Krell had welded a metal plate over it, but the weld was weak. With the right tools, they could break through. Getting tools was harder than finding the shaft. The Krell counted every tool in the facility, but Zoe figured out how to steal them. She would break a tool during work, report it, and hide the pieces. Over weeks, she collected enough broken tools to make new ones. Katie worked on the neural interface at night. She connected it to a salvaged power cell and tried to read its memory. The data was encrypted in architect code. She could not understand most of it, but she found something important. Coordinates. The interface had coordinates pointing to a location directly below the facility. That was where they needed to go, or oh. Months after Katie found the interface, they were ready. The 5 women had tools, a map, and a plan. During the next maintenance period, they would break through the access shaft and explore the ruins below. The night before, Lisa pulled them together. She looked each woman in the eye. This is dangerous. We might find nothing down there. We might get caught. We might die. Anyone who wants to stay behind can. No one will think less of you. Nobody stayed behind. The maintenance period started at midnight. The guards shut down Section 7 for repairs. The women slipped away from their sleeping area and moved through the dark facility. They had practiced this route a dozen times. They knew where every camera was. They knew every guard patrol pattern. The access shaft was in a storage room filled with broken equipment. They moved the equipment aside and found the metal plate. Zoe used a stolen cutting tool to burn through the weak weld. It took 20 minutes. The whole time, Katie watched the door for guards. Finally, the plate came loose. Below was darkness. The shaft went straight down. There were metal rungs built into the wall, old and rusted but still strong. Amy went first. She was the smallest and the best climber. She disappeared into the darkness. A minute later, her voice came back up. It is safe. There is a floor 20 feet down. One by one, they climbed down. The shaft was narrow and the rungs were slippery. Beth almost fell but caught herself. When they all reached the bottom, they turned on stolen work lights. They were standing in a corridor made of dark metal. The walls had strange symbols carved into them. Architect writing. The air was stale but breathable. Nothing had disturbed this place in 8,000 years. Katie held up the neural interface. It was glowing now, reacting to something nearby. The coordinates pointed forward down the corridor. They walked for what felt like hours. The corridor branched into side passages, but Katie followed the interface's signal. It grew stronger with each step. The walls changed from plain metal to elaborate designs. They saw carvings of tall beings in armor, the architects. Finally, the corridor opened into a massive chamber. Their lights could not reach the ceiling. The chamber was hundreds of feet across, and in the center stood something that made them all stop and stare. A war machine. A Titan. It stood 200 feet tall, a giant in the shape of a man. Its armor was dark and covered in ancient battle scars. Its hands could crush buildings. Its shoulders mounted weapons that could destroy cities. It had been standing there for 8,000 years, waiting. Katie walked forward slowly. Her hands were shaking. The neural interface was burning hot now, pulling her toward the Titan. She could feel it calling to her. Not with words, with something deeper. Around the chamber were computer terminals and control stations, all architect technology. Zoe ran to the nearest terminal and tried to activate it. Nothing happened. The power was off, but the Titan had power. Katie could feel it. The neural interface was connected to the Titan's core. The machine was dormant, not dead. It was sleeping. Lisa found something on the wall. Architect writing with images. She could not read the words, but the images told a story. The Titan was called Prometheus Protocol. It was a weapon of last resort. When the architects were losing their war against the Krell, they built this machine. It fought in the final battle and killed thousands of Krell ships. But the architects lost anyway. The Titan was buried here when its pilot died. Amy found the pilot's skeleton in a chair near the Titan's feet. The chair was connected to a neural interface system. That was how the architect controlled the machine. By connecting their mind directly to it. Beth looked at the skeleton and then at Katie. You are not seriously thinking about trying that. Katie held up the interface module. This is designed to connect to the Titan. I think we can use it. Zoe shook her head. Katie, that thing is made for an alien species that has been dead for 8,000 years. It could kill you. Katie turned to face them all. We are going to die anyway. In 3 years, maybe less. The toxic air will kill us. Or the guards will. Or we will just work until we drop dead. She pointed at the Titan. This is our only chance. We either try this or we go back to the sorting pit and wait to die. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. If we do this, we do it together. We split the connection between all 5 of us. That way, if something goes wrong, maybe we all survive. Or we all die together. The twins looked at each other and nodded. Katie felt tears in her eyes. These women had become her family in the last 6 months. They had suffered together. Now they would risk everything together. They spent the next 3 days preparing. They stole more equipment from the facility above. Zoe figured out how to tap the Titan's power system and bring the chamber's terminals online. Katie and Lisa studied the architect systems and learned how the neural interface worked. The twins created a connection system that would link all 5 of them to the interface at once. It was crude and dangerous. Any one of them could overload and die, but it was their only chance. On the 3rd night, they were ready. They could not stay away from the facility any longer without being noticed. It was now or never. The 5 women stood before the Titan. They had connected themselves to the interface with cables and neural patches. The system was active and ready. All they needed to do was turn it on. Katie looked at her friends. "Are you ready?" They all nodded. She activated the interface. The pain was worse than anything Katie had ever felt. It felt like her brain was on fire. She heard the others screaming. 8,000 years of information poured into their minds all at once. Architect language, battle data, system specifications. It was too much. She was going to die. Then something changed. The pain faded. The information slowed down and became clear. She could understand it. They all could. The architect language made sense now. The Titan systems were laid out in their minds like a map, and they could feel the Titan waking up. Its reactor came online after 8,000 years of sleep. Its sensors activated. Its weapon systems ran diagnostic checks. Through the Titan's eyes, Katie could see the chamber around them. She could see her own body standing far below, connected by cables. She could feel the others in her mind. Zoe's technical knowledge, Lisa's tactical thinking, Amy's spatial awareness, Beth's reflexes. They were 5 separate people, and one shared consciousness at the same time. The Titan's artificial intelligence spoke to them, not in words but in pure understanding. It had been waiting for someone worthy. The architects valued creativity and independence and courage. The Krell had none of those things. They were rigid and predictable, but these 5 humans had all of it. They had improvised and adapted. They had worked together. They had dared to wake up a weapon that terrified the entire galaxy. The Titan approved. Katie spoke through the neural link, and her voice echoed in all their minds. "So what do we do now?" Lisa's answer was simple. "We go up there and make them pay for what they did to us." The Titan began to move for the first time in 8,000 years. The Titan's first steps shook the ancient chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The 5 women felt every movement through the neural link. It was strange and wonderful. They were still in their own bodies, but also inside the Titan at the same time. They could feel its power like it was their own muscles. Katie checked the Titan's weapon systems. They were all functional. Particle beams that could cut through starship armor. Plasma cannons that could level buildings. Missile pods that could strike targets from orbit. And the reactor had enough power to run for 100 years. The Krell facility was 8 levels above them. Between here and there was solid rock and old construction. For a normal person, it would be impossible to reach. For Prometheus Protocol, it was nothing. The Titan looked up at the ceiling. Through its sensors, the 5 women could see through the rock to the facility above. They could see the guards walking their patrols. They could see the slaves working in the sorting pits. They could see the command center where Krell officers sat in comfort, while thousands suffered below. Lisa's voice came through the neural link. "Remember the slaves first. We get them out before we start breaking things." The others agreed. They had been slaves themselves. They knew the fear and pain. They would not let anyone else die if they could help it. The Titan raised one massive arm and punched straight up. Its fist broke through solid rock like paper. It punched again and again, climbing through 8 levels of construction in seconds. Alarms started screaming in the facility above. The Krell knew something was wrong, but they did not know what. Then the Titan's head broke through the floor of the main sorting pit. Slaves scattered in fear. They had never seen anything like this. A 200-foot-tall war machine rising from the depths like an ancient god. The Krell guards started shooting immediately. Plasma bolts hit the Titan's armor and did nothing. The armor had survived battles against entire fleets 8,000 years ago. A few guards with rifles were nothing. The Titan pulled itself up through the hole. It stood to its full height in the sorting pit. Slaves stared up at it in shock. Some ran, some stood frozen. Some fell to their knees. Amy spoke through the Titan's external speakers. Her voice was amplified so loud that it shook the walls. "Do not be afraid. We are here to free you. Get away from the guards and move to the north wall. You will be safe there." Some slaves listened. Others were too scared to move. The Krell guards tried to restore order. They fired on slaves who ran. That was their last mistake. Beth's response through the speakers was cold and clear. Any guard who harms a slave will die. We can see everything. We will not warn you again. More guards fired on fleeing slaves. The Titan's weapon systems locked on. Blue beams of light shot from its shoulders. 12 guards disappeared in flashes of energy so fast that nobody saw them die. They were just there one moment and gone the next. The remaining guards dropped their weapons and ran. They finally understood what they were facing. Zoe used the Titan's systems to take control of the facility's communication network. She broadcast a message on every speaker in every room. All slaves listen carefully. You are free. Leave your workstations and move to the landing pads. Do not fight the guards unless they attack you. We will protect you. The facility erupted into chaos. Thousands of slaves from dozens of species poured out of the sorting pits and storage areas. They had been prisoners for years. Some had never expected to see freedom again. Now they ran for the exits. Some guards tried to lock down the facility. They closed blast doors and activated defense turrets. The Titan's weapons cut through the doors like butter. The defense turrets fired on the Titan and their shots bounced off harmlessly. Through the neural link, Katie coordinated the weapons while Lisa planned the next moves. The twins monitored the escaping slaves and made sure nobody got left behind. Zoe hacked into the facility's computers and shut down the toxic processing furnaces. A Krell command officer tried to call for backup from the military base 3 miles away. Fighter ships launched and flew toward the facility. The Titan's anti-aircraft systems tracked them automatically. Missiles shot from its back and destroyed 6 fighters in seconds. The rest turned and fled. Commander Vexithora watched from the command center in horror. This was impossible. The architects were dead. Their weapons were destroyed. How could this be happening? She activated the facility's self-destruct system. If she could not control the facility, she would kill everyone in it. The slaves, the guards, everything. The Titan's sensors detected the activation immediately. Katie spoke to Vexithora through the communication system. Commander, shut down that self-destruct right now. Vexithora laughed. You think you have won? In 5 minutes, this entire facility will explode. All your freed slaves will die. So will you. Lisa's voice was calm. You have 3 seconds to shut it down or we will come up there and shut it down ourselves. 3, 2. Vexithora did not shut it down. She thought the Titan could not reach her in time. She thought the thick walls would protect her. The Titan moved faster than anything that large should be able to move. It crossed the sorting pit in 2 steps and smashed through the command center wall. Vexithora tried to run, but the Titan's hand came down and blocked the exit. She was trapped. Beth spoke through the speakers. Shut it down now. Vexithora shut down the self-destruct with shaking hands. The countdown stopped with 40 seconds remaining. Good choice, Katie said. Now get out. You have 1 minute to leave this facility before we destroy it. Vexithora and her officers ran. The Titan let them go. They were defeated and broken. They would tell the other Krell what happened here. They would spread the fear. Through the Titan sensors, the 5 women watched as the last slaves reached the landing pads. There were ships there. Old transport vessels that the Krell used to bring in supplies and new slaves. The slaves were taking them. Some knew how to fly. Others were learning fast. One old alien who looked like a mantis approached the Titan. He spoke in broken Krell. Thank you. We thought we would die here. Who are you? Katie answered through the speakers. We are nobody special. Just 5 women who got tired of being slaves. The mantis alien bowed. You are heroes. The galaxy will remember this day, Lisa interrupted. You need to go. We are going to destroy this facility. Get everyone on those ships and leave. Find somewhere safe. The slaves moved faster. Within 20 minutes, every transport ship was full. They launched in a ragged fleet, heading in different directions. Some went to their home worlds. Some went to free colonies. Some just went anywhere that was not here. When they were gone, the 5 women turned their attention to the facility. It had been a place of suffering and death. Now it would be nothing but rubble. The Titan's weapons came online one by one. Particle beams, plasma cannons, missiles, they fired at the same time. The facility began to collapse. Furnaces exploded. Walls fell. The sorting pits where they had worked for 6 months caved in. Zoe made sure to destroy the command center completely. She wanted nothing left of the place where Vexithora had sat in comfort while slaves died below. The Titan walked out of the collapsing facility and stood in the industrial wastes. Behind it, flames rose into the orange sky. Sorting facility Gamma 9 was gone. Katie felt exhausted but satisfied. Through the neural link, she could feel the others felt the same way. They had done it. They had freed thousands of slaves and destroyed the facility. But she knew this was just the beginning. Lisa voiced what they were all thinking. The Krell will send their military after us. They cannot let this stand. We just destroyed one of their facilities and stole a war machine they thought was destroyed 8,000 years ago. The Titan's artificial intelligence provided data. The nearest Krell military base had already detected the Titan's energy signature. They were mobilizing battle fleets. 3 fleets were on the way. 90 ships total, Amy sounded worried. Can we fight that many? Katie studied the tactical data flowing through the neural link. Prometheus Protocol had fought entire fleets before. Its weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat. Its armor could survive heavy bombardment. And it had something the Krell did not expect. 5 human women who had nothing left to lose. So we checked the weapon systems again. We have full ammunition. The reactor is at 98%. We can fight, Beth added her thoughts. Even if we win, more will come. The Krell Empire has thousands of ships. We cannot fight them all. Lisa made the decision. Then we do not fight all of them. We fight these 3 fleets, we win, and we make it so spectacular that the entire empire knows what happened here. We send a message that humans are not slaves, we are not weak, and we will not stop until every slave is free. Katie smiled through the neural link. When did this become about freeing all slaves? Lisa's response was simple. The moment we woke up this Titan. We have the power to change things. We would be cowards if we just ran and hid. The others agreed. They had been given a gift, a weapon capable of challenging an empire. They would not waste it. The Titan's sensors detected the incoming fleets. They would arrive in 6 hours. That gave the women time to prepare. They moved the Titan to a strategic position in the industrial wastes. Open ground where they could see enemies coming. No civilians to worry about, just them and the Krell military. The 5 women waited together in the Titan's neural link. The Krell fleet commander was named Torvik. He had fought in 30 battles and destroyed 12 rebel colonies. He thought this would be easy. One target, even if it was an architect Titan, could not fight 90 ships. He was wrong. The Titan's sensors tracked all 90 ships as they spread across the sky. Through the neural link, the 5 women saw every ship's position, every weapon charging, every shield activating. The Titan's artificial intelligence provided tactical data faster than any of them could think. Lisa took command. She had always been good at strategy. Katie, you handle the particle beams. Zoe managed the power distribution. Amy and Beth, you coordinate the missiles and point defense. I will direct our movements and choose targets. They all understood immediately through the neural link. 5 minds working as one. The Krell fired first. Plasma bolts and missiles came from all directions. Enough firepower to destroy a city. The Titan's shields came up and absorbed the hits. The ground around them exploded, but the Titan stood firm. Katie fired back. The particle beams on the Titan's shoulders tracked 6 ships at once. Blue energy lanced across the sky. 3 Krell cruisers exploded immediately. 2 more lost their engines and fell from the sky. 1 managed to raise shields just in time, but the beam cut through them like they were not there. 6 ships down in the first 10 seconds. Torvik realized his mistake too late. He ordered his ships to spread out more, to attack from different angles. But the Titan was faster than he expected. It moved like a fighter, not like a 200-foot-tall war machine. Its weapons tracked targets in all directions at once. Zoe kept the power flowing smoothly. The reactor ran at 100% but stayed stable. She redirected energy from the shields to the weapons when they needed it, then back again. The timing had to be perfect or they would be hit. The twins launched missiles. The Titan's back opened and hundreds of smart missiles shot into the sky. Each one locked onto a different target. The Krell tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. Explosions lit up the sky as missiles found their marks. 15 more ships destroyed. Lisa directed the Titan to move. It could not just stand still. The Krell were learning. They concentrated their fire on one spot, trying to overwhelm the shields. The Titan ran across the industrial wastes at incredible speed. Each step covered 100 feet. It zigzagged and dodged while still firing. Katie switched to the plasma cannons. These were for close-range targets. 3 Krell ships dropped low, trying to attack from above. The plasma cannons turned the sky orange. All 3 ships melted and fell. 24 ships down. 66 remaining. Torvik was panicking now. His fleet was being torn apart. He called for reinforcements from the military base. More ships would arrive in 30 minutes. He just had to survive that long, but the 5 women were not going to let him survive. Beth noticed something in the tactical data. The Krell ships were grouping into defensive formations. They were trying to protect their command carrier, the largest ship in the fleet. If they killed the command carrier, the rest would lose coordination. Lisa saw it too. All weapons on the command carrier. Now, every weapon the Titan had fired at once. Particle beams, plasma cannons, missiles, even the small defensive guns. The command carrier's shields held for almost 3 seconds. Then they failed. The ship broke apart and exploded. Torvik died without knowing what hit him. Without their commander, the Krell fleet fell into chaos. Some ships tried to retreat. Others kept attacking. They had no coordination. The Titan picked them off one by one. Katie felt like she was playing a video game, except this was real, and the stakes were life and death. Ships exploded. Escape pods ejected. Some ships crashed into the ground in burning wrecks. 17 minutes after the battle started, it was over. 90 Krell ships had attacked. 0 survived. The industrial wastes were littered with debris and burning wreckage. The 5 women felt exhausted but alive. Through the neural link, they shared relief and pride. They had done it. They had fought an entire fleet and won, but Zoe brought them back to reality. The reinforcements are coming. 40 more ships. They will be here in 12 minutes. Amy voiced what they were all thinking. We cannot keep fighting forever. Even if we win this next battle, they will just send more. Lisa had been thinking about this. We need to change the game. We need to stop reacting and start acting. She turned the Titan's sensors to the military base 3 miles away. That is where the reinforcements are coming from. If we destroy that base, we cut off their ability to send more ships. Beth sounded uncertain. That base has thousands of soldiers and heavy defenses. It is designed to withstand attacks. Katie smiled through the neural link. It was designed to withstand normal attacks. Not an architect war Titan. The decision was made. They would attack the military base before the reinforcements could launch. The Titan ran across the industrial wastes. 3 miles took less than 2 minutes at the speed it could move. The base's defense systems detected them and opened fire. Missile turrets, plasma cannons, and particle beam arrays. The base had firepower equal to a small fleet. But the Titan had fought worse. Zoe managed the shields while Katie and the twins handled the weapons. They destroyed turrets as fast as they could target them. Lisa directed their path, finding weak points in the base's defenses. The Titan smashed through the outer wall like it was cardboard. Inside, Krell soldiers scrambled to respond. Tanks and walkers moved to intercept. The Titan stepped on them. Its weapons cut through them. Nothing could stop it. The 5 women made sure to avoid the barracks where regular soldiers slept. They were not here to kill everyone. They were here to destroy the base's ability to launch ships and send reinforcements. They targeted hangars, command centers, and fuel depots. Explosions rocked the base. Ships that were preparing to launch exploded on their pads. The control towers fell. Within 15 minutes, the military base was a ruin. No more reinforcements would come from here. But the Titan's sensors detected something else. More fleets were coming from other bases. The Krell High Command had finally realized this was serious. They were sending everything they had. Katie felt worry through the neural link. How many ships? The Titan's artificial intelligence calculated. Current forces heading to this location, 340 ships. More being mobilized. Total available Krell forces in this sector, over 2,000 ships. The reality hit them all at once. They could not win this by fighting. The Krell Empire was too big. They would eventually be overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Lisa made a decision. We need to run. We need to leave this planet and find somewhere safe to plan our next move. But Zoe had another idea. No. We need to do something bigger. We need to make a statement that the entire galaxy will hear. She accessed the communication systems they had taken from the base. I can broadcast a message to every world in this sector. Every planet, every ship, every communication relay. Everyone will hear it. Katie understood immediately. We tell the truth. We tell every slave in the Empire what happened here. We show them that the Krell can be beaten. We start a revolution. Amy pointed out the problem. The moment we broadcast, the Krell will know exactly where we are. Every ship in the Empire will come after us. Beth finished her twin's thought. So we broadcast and then we run. We hit another facility before they can respond. Then another. We keep moving and we keep freeing slaves. Lisa considered it. That is incredibly dangerous. We will be hunted constantly. We might not survive. Katie's response was firm. We were dead the moment the Krell took us from New Portland. Everything after that is borrowed time. We can waste it hiding, or we can use it to burn their empire to the ground. The others agreed. They would broadcast their message, then start hitting slave facilities across the sector. They would free as many people as they could, and they would make the Krell pay for every person they had enslaved. Zoe prepared the broadcast. She used every communication relay in the sector. The message would reach billions of people. Katie wrote the words. Lisa reviewed them. The twins added emotional weight. When they were ready, Katie spoke through the Titan's communication system. Her voice was broadcast to every world that the Krell controlled. This is Katie Morrison speaking for the free people of Earth. 6 months ago, the Krell Empire invaded our colony and took us as slaves. They thought we were weak. They thought we would die quietly in their pits. They were wrong. Today we found an Architect War Titan buried beneath their facility. We woke it up. We destroyed their sorting facility and freed thousands of slaves. We defeated their battle fleets. We destroyed their military base. This message is for every being in chains. You are not alone. Resistance is possible. Freedom is possible. We are coming to free you. This message is for the Krell Empire. Your time is over. Every slave you take, every person you hurt, every world you conquer, you will pay for it. We will not stop until every chain is broken and every slave is free. My name is Katie Morrison. My friends are Zoe Palmer, Lisa Grant, Amy Sullivan, and Beth Sullivan. We are humans from Earth, and we are done being afraid. The broadcast ended. Across the sector, billions heard it. Slaves in work camps looked up with hope for the first time in years. Krell officials panicked. The Empire's enemies saw opportunity. The 5 women had just started a revolution. Through the neural link, the mining colony was called Designation 774 by the Krell. It had no other name. The 20,000 slaves who worked there did not need names. They just needed to dig until they died. The Titan arrived in orbit without warning. The colony's defenses were minimal. A few orbital platforms and some ground-based weapons. They opened fire immediately. The Titan destroyed them in under a minute. Then it landed near the largest slave barracks. Katie broadcast a message through the external speakers. This is Katie Morrison and the Prometheus Protocol. You are free. Gather at the landing pads. We are taking you somewhere safe. The slaves did not believe it at first. Many thought it was a trick. But when they saw the Krell guards running away in fear, they realized it was real. The giant Titan was here to save them. Lisa had learned from the first facility. This time they were more organized. The twins used the Titan's sensors to identify the colony's transport ships and make sure they were fueled and ready. Zoe hacked the computer systems and unlocked all the barracks doors at once. Katie kept the weapons trained on the guard stations in case any Krell tried to fight back. None did. The guards had heard about what happened on Krell Prime. They knew they could not win against the Titan. They surrendered or fled. Within 3 hours, all 20,000 slaves were loaded onto ships and leaving the colony. The Titan destroyed the mining equipment and processing facilities, so the Krell could not use them again. Then they left. That was the pattern for the next 6 months. The 5 women hit facility after facility. Mining colonies, processing plants, agricultural work camps, prison worlds. Anywhere the Krell kept slaves, the Titan appeared. They freed the slaves and destroyed the facilities. Then they moved on before the Krell military could respond. The Krell tried to stop them. They set traps and ambushes. They stationed battle fleets at every slave facility, but the Titan was too fast and too smart. The 5 women learned to hit and run. They would jump in, free the slaves, and jump out before the fleets could arrive. When they were forced to fight, they won. After 3 months, they had freed over 200,000 beings from a dozen species. The freed slaves formed their own fleet. Some went home. Others joined the fight. Engineers who could repair ships, soldiers who knew Krell tactics, pilots who wanted revenge. The revolution grew larger every day. Other species saw what was happening and joined in. The Krell's enemies attacked their borders. Subject worlds rebelled. The empire that had stood for 3,000 years was crumbling, and at the center of it all was the Titan and 5 human women who refused to stay slaves. The Krell High Command met in emergency session. Fleet Admiral Kexthor looked at the damage reports with disbelief. In 6 months, they had lost 40 slave facilities, 16 military bases, and over 800 ships. The economy was failing. Worlds were rebelling. And they could not catch 5 humans in an ancient war machine. One of the admirals suggested negotiation. Perhaps we can offer them something. Money, land, their home world back. Kexthor dismissed the idea. We cannot negotiate with slaves. It would show weakness. Every species we control would think they could rebel too. But another admiral pointed out the obvious. They already think that. The humans have proven it is possible to fight back and win. We must make an example of them. We must capture the Titan and execute the pilots publicly. The problem was catching them. The Titan could jump across the galaxy faster than they could track it. Every trap they set failed. Every ambush was detected and avoided. Then they had an idea. The humans kept broadcasting messages to freed slaves, telling them where to go to be safe. What if they traced those broadcasts? What if they found the location where the freed slaves were gathering? They could not catch the Titan, but they could threaten the people the humans cared about. It took 2 weeks, but they found it. A remote moon in neutral space where over 300,000 freed beings had gathered. There were ships and temporary shelters. People were building a new life there, free from the Krell. The Krell sent 10 battle fleets. 5,000 ships. They would destroy the moon and everyone on it. Then they would broadcast that message to the humans. Surrender or we will kill everyone you freed. But the Krell underestimated the humans one more time. The Titan's sensors detected the fleets 2 days before they arrived. Katie immediately called an emergency meeting through the neural link. The Krell are coming. 5,000 ships. We cannot fight them all. We need to evacuate everyone. Lisa checked the numbers. 300,000 people. We have maybe 600 ships. We cannot evacuate them all before the fleets arrive. Zoe's voice was strained. Then we fight. We buy them time to escape. Amy pointed out the problem. 5,000 ships will kill us. The Titan is powerful, but it is not invincible. Beth added quietly. Maybe that is the point. Maybe we were always going to die here. At least we die protecting people instead of as slaves. Katie felt tears in her physical eyes even as her consciousness stayed connected to the Titan. When did this become a suicide mission? Lisa's response was gentle. The moment we woke this Titan, we knew we probably would not survive. But look what we accomplished. 300,000 people are free because of us. Dozens of worlds rebelled. The Krell Empire is falling apart. If we die here, we die heroes. They were all quiet for a moment. Then Katie spoke. We are not dying if I can help it. I have an idea. It is crazy and might not work, but it is better than just waiting to be killed. She explained her plan. The Titan had one weapon they had not used yet. The reactor could be overloaded to create a massive explosion, big enough to destroy everything within 1,000 miles. If they could lure the Krell fleets close enough, they could take out all 5,000 ships at once. The problem was they would die too. The explosion would destroy the Titan and everyone connected to it. Zoe immediately saw a flaw. If we die, who flies the Titan close enough to the fleets? Katie had thought of that. The artificial intelligence. It is smart enough to fly itself. We program it with the plan. Then we disconnect and evacuate with everyone else. The Titan sacrifices itself and we survive. The others were quiet. It was a good plan. It would save everyone, but it meant destroying the Titan, the weapon that had given them all this power. Without it, they were just 5 humans again. Lisa made the decision. Do it. The Titan is just a machine. The people we saved are worth more than any weapon. They spent the next day preparing. They helped evacuate as many people as possible. 600 ships left the moon carrying refugees. The Titan stayed behind with a few volunteers who wanted to help load the last ships. Then the Krell fleets arrived. 5,000 ships dropping from faster-than-light travel all at once. The sky filled with alien vessels. The Titan broadcast a message on all frequencies. This is Katie Morrison. You came here to kill innocent people. That will not happen today. We are giving you one chance. Leave now or face the consequences. Fleet Admiral Kexthor responded himself. You have lost humans. Surrender and we will make your death quick. Resist and we will hunt down every being you freed and kill them slowly. Katie smiled through the neural link. You Krell really do not learn, do you? Fine. You want to see what happens when you threaten us? Watch closely. The 5 women disconnected from the neural link. The pain of separation was terrible. They had been connected for 6 months. The Titan felt like part of them. Now they were just in their own bodies again, weak and small and human. They ran for the last evacuation ship. Behind them, the Titan began its final mission. The artificial intelligence took full control. It flew straight at the Krell fleets at maximum speed. The Krell opened fire with everything they had. Thousands of weapons hitting the Titan at once. Its shields began to fail. Armor cracked. But it kept going. Kexthor realized too late what was happening. He ordered his ships to scatter. But 5,000 ships could not move fast enough. The Titan's reactor overloaded just as it reached the center of the Krell formation. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. A sphere of white energy expanded outward, consuming everything. Ships, debris, even light itself seemed to bend around the blast. When the light faded, the Krell fleets were gone. All 5,000 ships destroyed in an instant. Fleet Admiral Kexthor and every soldier under his command were dead. The moon had a new crater 10 miles wide where the Titan had been, but the evacuation zones were far enough away to survive. The 5 women watched from the evacuation ship as the light faded. They held each other and cried. The Titan was gone. The weapon that had given them power, that had let them save so many people, was destroyed. But they were alive. And so were the 300,000 people they had saved. News of the battle spread fast. The Krell had sent their largest fleet in centuries and lost every ship. 5 human women had lured them into a trap and destroyed them. The Empire's military was crippled. Their economy was failing. Rebellions were breaking out everywhere. 2 months later, the Krell High Command surrendered. The terms were simple: free every slave, dismantle the military, never leave their home system again. If they refused, the rebel fleet would destroy Krell Prime itself. They agreed to every term. The war was over. The Empire had fallen. Across the galaxy, billions celebrated their freedom. Katie, Zoe, Lisa,